To the bottom left, we have the Protoss player. In our current lineup, we have for Incredible Miracle.
AGIM seeded.
And I have to correct myself, by the way. I just read that wrong on the sheet, and I was corrected on Twitter. Thank you very much, guys, for catching that. And of course, Zenio is not on 1-1. He actually won both his games. He won against MC and with a Baneling Bust, and he was also able to win against a Tree. So he's on 2-0 right now, and a win in this match would help him tremendously.
He would go 3-0.
Yeah, he would go 3-0. That would be quite the opening. He's starting to the top of the map. We have him in the blue color. This is
Liquid Zenio.
Yep.
There he is, Phantom of the Liquid. He's continuing to, he had to go pool first here as the probe continues to be annoying. He's going to block the natural, as we saw MC do to Zenio as well.
This is actually one of the maps where you can start with the hatch first. We see this lately. Oh, Nexus first here for Seed, by the way. Nope. But as I said, this is one of the maps where you can go for a hatch first. What usually makes you start with a pool first is that if a Forge first Protoss is facing you, there's always the risk of cannon rush going on. So especially when there's no space behind the mineral line, the Protoss player can use his pylons in order to block off a small space where he builds his first cannon. So even if you pull the drones in time, it's very, very hard to kill the pylons or the cannon. As soon as the first cannon is up, you're normally not able to defend against it, and you will have to cancel your hatch or you might lose it. So that's definitely a risk. But a lot of Zerg players these days just try on a lot of maps where they but the mineral patches are a bit more out in the open. They try to go for a hatch first again to get an early advantage against their opponent. We have Seed with the Nexus first, and Zenio, he did not go for a hatch first play, but started with a standard style where you get the pool before you actually start with the hatchery, so that the Zerglings will be out in time to defend. But
and also it gives you the ability to kill the pylon. When your opponent pylon scouts, you just basically can't get a hatch first.
Yeah, that's perfectly true. That's so right. So if you send out an early probe and try to just block the hatchery, then that's can be.
So if you go if you're trying to go hatch first and your opponent scouts on pylon, it's like, well, you're just going to lose a lot of time because you're not getting the hatchery, you're not getting the pool. So as soon as you see the probe, you kind of have to make the pool against a good player. Third base going down for Zenio right now, and this time with no gas taken, I think he's going to be for real about it.
So,
what build is Seed going to do? We've seen him use a lot of hallucination in the past for scouting. Likes to play the macro game. I'm thinking we're probably going to see Stargate out of him. That's what I would predict if I had to guess.
Stargate?
He's not even started +1 just yet. And I think as soon as that core finishes, he's going to start a Stargate, and he's going to do Stargate play here. He may go Robo, though. The thing is, on this map, both Stargate and Robo play are a little bit less effective than they are on other maps.
It's just the distances between the bases is huge, so it will give your opponent a lot of time to prepare. We already have double Overlord in position in order to spot the bases of Seed, and it's actually the transition into the robotics, exactly.
You know, the Robo build, I think, is probably the second best, in my opinion, for the transition abilities you have with it, because if you go for the Robo, you can either do a big push with Immortals, or you could just simply scare your opponent and use the Immortals to defend your third base. A lot of people didn't like the Robo build because Mutalisks were so popular for a while, but now that they're less popular, I think it's pretty good. The other thing about Stargate play is if your opponent shuts down your Stargate play, there's not a lot of transition there. You're going to need the Immortals also, so you just kind of have to get a later Robo, and it feels less comfortable. And that's the reason why I prefer Robo over Stargate right now.
Also, most Zerg players kind of figured out how to prepare against the robotics plane. Oh, there are the gateways. What did he actually see? Could you have a quick look at his vision? Did Zenio spot the robotics or only the gateways that he did?
He saw the gateways.
Okay, he saw the right. He saw everything and gets out with the Overlord in time. Oh, actually, it's gonna get close. Oh, the Overlord will die here.
I think so, yeah. With the amount of damage the Stalker does to armor, he will kill it for sure.
Overlord dies and supply blocks Zenio for a few seconds, but then he's fine.
He's playing it super normal, getting the Roach Warren and the Evo Chamber, as well as a macro hatch.
The game is a little bit more important for Seed than it is for Zenio. With a 2-0 lead in the group that Zenio currently has, he definitely could afford to lose a game. It would also obviously be great for him to take a 3-0 here. But Seed is on 1-1, and therefore he has to be a little bit more careful. If he loses this match, then he's suddenly on 1-2, and this puts him far behind. It would tie him with Virus, Hack, and Tree, and Zenio and MC would suddenly take a huge lead in the group.
We do see +1 getting closer to being finished for Seed, as well as Immortal coming out. And his Twilight Council is going to line up with that +1, so he can start +2 right away if he chooses to, which I think would be pretty much a given. His second Immortal is going to come out here as well. Stalker gets caught.
Wow, that's bad, especially because we don't even have speed completed.
Nope, not yet.
Without speed, he should be able to dodge these Zerglings, but he was just caught at the side of the map, and then suddenly, because how the terrain worked, he could not escape anymore. That's really bad. That's really, really bad.
Yeah, it's a huge loss there, but now he's forced to basically move out with his army to grant vision, to get an idea of what's going on out there. It's not something he's going to feel comfortable with.
Blink is now on its way, and we have the lair tech 2 for Zenio.
Look at the money of Seed here. It's getting a bit high. He starts +2 now. He does not have the gas to really support much more Stalker production. It leads me to believe if I'm in his position, I'm thinking about expanding as I pressure here, so I think that's what he's going to do. He is sending a probe out. We're about to find out which way it's going. It is going with the army, in fact, not with a Nexus. Unless he's going to try to take the center base, which is something I talked about earlier, and that's exactly what he's going to do. I really like this with the composition that he's built, with the position that Zenio's in right now. I really, really like this.
Does he really have enough sentries to push out if he actually commits to this?
I think he's just trying to scare Zenio right now, then he's going to pull back. I don't think he'll cross the tower. He's going on the tower to scare the Zerglings away, and I think from here, his opponent's like, Immortals and Sentries, he could be rallying a Warp Prism right now, I gotta prepare.
Straight for the Hydra then, that's the one thing that he wants to do here, because he's a little bit faster than having the Infestors. And with Infestors and the Fungals, you are in a good position against some kind of Immortal build. As soon as you have them, it's going to be tricky for the Protoss player to keep his Sentries alive. And as soon as the Sentries are gone, you can move in with the Roaches. But the Hydralisks are just great against everything that comes out of them.
Yeah, as a defense, because they're on creep, they come out very quickly, you can use them, they do a lot of DPS, but as offense, they're not going to be as useful. So I wonder how many Hydras he'll make. Overlord speed is on the way, as well as Roach speed. I don't think he's going to make Hydras unless he feels really threatened. And there's a Spire going down now. He starts Hydros range. That's something you absolutely have to have no matter what, whether you make the Hydras or not. Seed is adding a ton of gateways right now, and I think he's really going to go heavy on Stalkers for a while, because with this third base that has the extra gas, you can just afford to do that. Gas is kind of your limiting factor when you want to max out on Stalkers, but with that extra gas, you can really kind of push through, get a ton of Stalkers out, and be very mobile with those while he continues to tech up.
The Overlords have speed, by the way, and he's putting it to some use and trying to scout again his opponent's main base. The Overlord Overseer is already in position here. Infestation Pit now coming up as well. You can see just a lot of tech for Zenio, and he can definitely afford it, because with 73 Harvesters on 3 bases, he is just in a great position now. He's getting all these tech structures. He's even taking a 4th already and gets a macro hatch. So he really wants to make sure that he has enough lava in this game. And this is going to be his 2nd macro hatch. He already has 1. Yep. So very an interesting play. I like this that he's playing.
Oh, look at those force fields. Those were beautiful by Seed. Hardly any overlap, and so fast on the execution.
Seed is kind of known for having brilliant force fields. I know for a fact that Todd actually talked to him and wanted to know how exactly his mouse settings work and how he does it, because he said his force fields are so excellent, they are so amazing. He barely misses a force field and is always spot on with what he does.
Yeah, there are very few players like that. I mean, a decent force field is a decent force field, but, you know, a force field like from Seed, from MC, from Hero, those are the really scary ones. Triple gas going up now at the 3rd base of Seed, which does include the rich Vespene Geyser.
And the Vespene Geyser, if he really decides to take it, this is a situation where the Vespene Geyser actually pays off a lot more, because he's not taking the 3rd to the bottom mid, but he's taking this one.
This is really cool. He's actually putting 4 Harvests in there because it's slightly further away. That's not something I would have even realized or thought to do. This engagement is going to be heavily in favor of Seed. He has the better composition here. His opponent is going towards that fast 5, as you mentioned, but this engagement is going to be really good for him. There are a lot of Zerglings here, but with the upgrades for Seed, he's going to tear through. He has so many sentries available as well. Here come the Infestors. Looks like Zenio wants to commit. Will Seed blink away? In fact, he does, but his Immortals are getting trapped. Again, beautiful force fields, and now the Zerglings are being caught. The Fungals are so far away. He catches 1 sentry and 1 immortal, but not enough.
He has +2 armor, something that we definitely have to mention here, because +3 attack is not done yet. He throws the attack off for now. He lost a few minerals because of the Zerglings. Didn't lose too many roaches though. And with all the lava that he has, he can immediately rebuild his army. He's even getting 14 additional drones, while +2 attack for the roaches is going to finish. Hive Tech is nearly done. Spine Crawlering it up now like it was. And Seed is going for Storm and Warp Prison.
Yep.
I really like that he's using the Warp Prison.
He's done this
here.
before. He has actually used Storms in dropships. He was the first person, I believe, to ever do that on a televised match.
This is exactly what I mentioned earlier. On a map like this, on Entombed Valley as well, you have to make sure that all your bases are saved by a few, that you have defensive structures like you need Spore Crawlers, you need a few Spine Crawlers, just to be sure that if there is some kind of Warp Prism harass that you can defend against it. Even though a Parasite is being researched now as the Greater Spire goes up, so that they can start to neural Parasite a few units. Makes a lot of sense to neural Parasite Immortals, for example, when there are too many of them.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Zenio
really
is really scary though with the amount of hatcheries he has right now and with the extra gas he has, because he also has now taken that additional gas base. So he's got the 3 gases up, he's got the 4 units in there. We are going to see a Zealot drop in the main base, but Zenio is already preparing. He's making 3 spines there. He knows this is a possible eventuality as his opponent's going to be on 4 bases. When you have that many minerals, your gas is your limiting factor. A 5th base going down for Seed, really using the fact that this map is so big that he can just do this.
He also prepares for the possibility
He's
of
going to have to cancel though.
Yeah, he has to cancel the 5th, but the Stargate is building, so he's preparing for the Broodlord possibility.
Here come the Zealots. He actually warped into time. The Spines are not quite ready, and the positioning on the Queen here actually makes it very difficult for him to engage this.
So the Spine Crawler is dead. There's another one though. Whoa, picking off Infestus here. Then he has to be careful about those.
Yeah, he very much so does. 4 more Corruptors on the way right now for Zenio to put him at a total of 7. The Spines actually did a decent amount of defense at first, but now they're starting to fall. A great storm here really limits the Zergling count. We may have a base trade as Seed is going across the map. And there are so many units across map for Zenio as well, but there are storms to delay. There are a lot of cannons as well.
Oh,
Seed's going to turn around.
He's turning back, you're right. And now we have an attack on the 3rd base. Is this going to fall as well? A few of the infested cannons
should be able to target it down.
Fungals? Yes, there are fungals, and if he really focuses on the next, he will die.
He will, and he should get this next, but meanwhile, Seed has gotten the center base as well. He's taken out a lot of drones with his army, and now he's going to clean up the army of Zenio, whereas Seed's army remains alive. He's going to continue to warp into the main base. I think Seed is the huge lead here right now.
Oh, yes, he is. He has still 3,000 minerals and 2,000 gas, and he can produce so many more units. Well, Zenio is running out of money.
His fleet beacon is finishing up here, so the money, like you said, that Zenio is running out of, he's getting for Broodlords, but he's going to have a mothership out, and in fact, right now Seed can actually double expand back to the center and to the side while attacking. Zenio is in a lot of trouble here.
There are not enough Broodlords. He only has 7 in total. The mothership is already on its way. At the same time, as you can see, we have 32 Stalkers with Blink. He has great upgrades. He's getting the armor upgrade, the first one. And the Infestor count is not high enough. This is really, really bad for Zenio right now. He lost control over this match.
Yep, he did. And double expand is going down.
The main base with a huge
He has so much
warp
bank, he can just do this. He's going to target down Evo Chamber. He's probably going to go right for the Hive afterwards. And, you know, the double expand is exactly what Seed needs to be doing behind this attack. The mothership coming out. He's starting to get his armor upgrades. I don't know if he's going to be able to go in here. He's going to try. He storms on these Broodlords. Some feedback's going down as well.
The blink is not possible as suddenly there are fungals in
but
the picture.
He doesn't have any units underneath, and these Broodlords will fall very quickly. Not enough fungal energy, you're right. And even though the supply is evening up here, a great trade for Seed, who has much more money. He's starting to tear through the main base some more.
One first fungal delayed the blink in for a few seconds, but as soon as the fungal was gone, and suddenly he just took the chance and went in there, blink in, focused down the Broodlords, and now the supply for Zenio is dropping. But we don't have the bank for Seed anymore. He did not really trade cost efficient in during the course of the game. Actually, it was more Zenio that lost too many resources with all the tech that Seed started. That's where he invested his money in. He's getting Archons, he's getting more High Templar. The mothership is nearly done, and he's still on a lot of mining bases. Zenio is hard pressed and lost tech.
Yeah, he lost a lot. The mothership does complete at this point. It will be moving out with the army, and the question is, how does Zenio now fight here? He lost his Infestation Pit. He's only got 2 Infestors out. He's rebuilding his Infestation Pit now. He only has 2 Broodlords out right now. He doesn't have enough resources to make more, and Seed is on the move. If he actually goes in and attacks now, Zenio will probably just die. He is safely taking bases right now, though, rather than moving forward. Remember, Neural Parasite is still an option here. He can Neural Archons, he can Neural the Mothership.
What I don't really understand is why Zenio is not sending at least one of his Corruptors to the top left in order to take down the Warp Prism.
Yep.
That Warp Prism has been so annoying over the course of the game. He warped in several rounds of Stalkers, and he has 4 Corruptors. Sending one to the top left just to take care of this situation, to save this tech. Because if he's losing the Hive, and if he's losing additional tech structures in his main base, this will bite him in the ass later on.
You're right, and Fungo's going down on these units, but like I said, this is a great time for Seed to attack. Great Storm is going down here. I don't think Zenio holds. Not much longer. One Broodlord narrowly escapes with 24 hit points left.
He has a slight lead in supply, but if this is really going to help, that's something that we will find out in a few seconds. Vortex is ready. There it is. He runs in with way too many units, and this Archon Toilet is going to eliminate everything.
Yep, he's
Storm. Wow. Zenio is dropping in supply. So is Seed, though. But as soon as this Vortex is gone, how's the supply going to do for Zenio? He's dropping in supply like crazy. Seed, on the other hand, warping in additional 13 Stalkers and is
He's got the better economy, the better army. Look at that. That one Archon Blast killing like 3 Infestors. GG.
Seed takes it
in dominant fashion as well. I feel like his play here was much better than Zenio's, and he puts them both on 2-1.
So at this point, we have a split group. Virus, Hack, and Tree are on 1-2, every single one of them, while Zenio, MC, and Seed are on 2-1. This is being really, really close.
Yeah, this group has been pretty. There hasn't really been any clear favorite. You know what I mean? Like, the only one who's really looked dominant was Zenio and MC, but they both have now taken a loss. So this is the next few matches are going to be very, very interesting, because with Virus, Hack, and Tree, all Terran players, by the way, all the Terrans are down 2 games. So if they lose the next match, then suddenly they have no chance whatsoever in order to qualify again. That's how all Zergs feel dealing with Mothership, man. Gotta suck your thumb and call Blizzard, man, because it is pretty tough.
It's positioning. You need, he had the Neuroparasite. If you are in the position where you can suddenly just
He looked like he was trying to use it. I think he tried to use it, but it didn't work. There was a split. There was like a second there when I was watching the battle where I wasn't sure who cast the Vortex. I was like, did Zenio try to do that? And he just spammed it, and it went a little bit awkwardly because the Vortex was positioned a little bit weirdly. But in the end, no, he didn't get the neural off. It didn't work.
It's just so weird if you think about it. As a Zerg player, you now have to learn the Protoss hotkeys.
Yeah, Vortex is V.
Guys, if you didn't know it, there it is.
Recall is R. You can...
I'm not gonna recall anything if I actually neural parasite a mothership.
What happens if you recall next to your hatchery? Can you recall your larva, and the larva just spawns and then dies because it's off creep? I wonder if you can do that. We're gonna take a 5-minute break, guys. When we get back, we'll see you with the rest of our matches here at the GSL Up and Downs.